Hello, Cherries, and welcome to Live Cherry Sunday, Special Tuesday, episode 245. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how the major scale Ionian and the Mixolydian mode are different. And they are very different. And I think this is very important stuff to know. The major scale is a mode. It's the Ionian mode. It's the first mode. And the Mixolydian is really the fifth degree of the major scale. So they're very, very similar, but yet different in one way. Say we're in G major. Okay, right? We got the G chord right here. You could play both the G major scale which is actually the Ionian mode as well. Ionian is the first mode. Or you could play Mixolydian mode, which would be like this. So the only thing I'm changing here is the seventh degree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 major scale. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Mixolydian mode. Back to the root. Now that gives you a minor seventh degree right there. And that's a big difference right there. You know, with an Ionian mode, the seventh degree, because it's major, gives you a G major 7 chord, which would sound like this. The Mixolydian will give you a dominant 7th chord or a minor 7th chord, so it'll give you a chord that sounds like this. Or like this. So regular G chord without the 7th, G major 7th, and a G7 is like that. Hello, super bugs. BGGS YT. How's it going? Give you a round of applause. Class has begun. Class not dismissed. Just call me Josh. All right, Josh. Good to see you. So we're going over the differences here between the Ionian mode and the Mixolydian mode. Ionian just being the major scale. And the Mixolydian mode being with a minor 7th. Now let me show you in context with some loops here. I created a couple loops. The first one, and I'm going to blend them into each other. The first loop is I'm playing over a Ionian mode, which is the major scale, and then I'm going to bust into the Mixolydian mode. And you'll hear the differences in how they're used right here. Check it out. It's just a looper that I create, just the loop that I created on my looper here. My RC5 Boss looper. Just the major scale right there. All right. So I went from the Ionian over to the Mixolydian mode, back to the Ionian mode, and you hear the difference. One's a happy major scale sound, and the other one's more of a bluesy type of sound. And that second one, just to show you real quick, that, and if you're enjoying this video so far, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notification. Now check this out, what you can do real quick with this one. The second, the Mixolydian one, you can actually play the minor pentatonic here too. Come on. Blue scale, but end on the major. So Mixolydian, pentatonic. Mixolydian, and then blue scale. To the major. So the Mixolydian mode has its benefits that you could slip in more of a bluesier sound in there too. And it's really the major scale with just a minor 7th degree in there. So very cool. So let me say hello here to just Josh. Call me Josh. You can call me Josh. And I just ordered the looper. Comes next week. It's an RC1. Oh, that's a great looper. I got it for what you're doing, trying to work on my phrasing. Absolutely. And I've been using the RC1 forever, but I upgraded, so to speak, to the RC5. The RC5 has some more functions that are pretty cool. Like, a great example is what I'm doing now. I switch between 2 different loops. The RC1's great, and but with the RC5, you could store like a bunch of different loops, and you could kind of loop between them. Really, that's really the only difference. There's a few differences in there. You have the rhythm in there as well, which is pretty cool. So it's good to have like a nice loop. The RC1 doesn't have the drum machine built inside of it. So, but hang on to the RC1, work with that. Just having that ability to work on your phrasing, it's so cool. But eventually having some kind of solid rhythm in the background will definitely help your phrasing and timing more, because that's an important thing. So hello Dana Leighton. See, I think I'm getting your name pronounced right finally after all this time. Leighton. And hello Clarence. Good to see you. Give you a round of applause. and Greasy Monkey Guitars. Hello. That's such a great name, Greasy Monkey Guitars. I love that. So cool. All right. So hopefully you got your guitars. You're in tune as much as you could possibly be. And if you find yourself out of tune, just keep tuning until you get in tune. Eventually you'll get there. And so it's a really, really cool thing. You know, the major scale, guitar's not quite buzzing like it used to buzz. Right? Oh, look at that. That's a really nice angle right there. Let me fix that. A little bit better right there. How about that? I thought I had it right when I set this up, but now it's right. Get that big fretboard right there. Okay, so major scale, G major scale. Very surprised it's not buzzing hardly at all right there. If I played the Mixolydian mode, it would be like this. So I played this note. I played an F. Instead of a G right there. So that's really the difference right there. And that one note is such a difference because it's the 7th degree. You know, it's a 7th degree of there, and that's really important in building your chords and everything, right? It's just kind of driving me crazy a little bit. Just back it up right there. Back up. Okay. Yeah, it's very, very important in having that 7th degree, because it gives you that total, like, dominant bluesy sound, as opposed to, well, that's more of a leading tone. You get a half step into the G. You play with your thumb. Like that, right? So, now, one thing and what's really important to know here is that this Mixolydian mode comes from a major scale. It's the C major scale. So if I played the C major scale, much like I played the G major scale, it's the same scale, only one's a C major, the other one's G major, obviously, but at the same degrees and everything. If I started the C major scale on the 5th note, check it out. So I'm going to bust right into the G Mixolydian mode right there. So the C major scale. Oops. But the 5th degree, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, G. So if I played the C major scale starting on G, it would be the G Mixolydian mode. So it's good to know where it comes from. You know, it comes from the C major family. So C is the parent key. When you play a G Mixolydian mode, you're essentially playing a C major scale, but starting on the G. So here's C major. Watch this. Here's the G. G Mixolydian. C major. Same notes. C. C kind of wants to resolve to C, doesn't it? If I play G Mixolydian, see how it kind of wants to go to that? It's like that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. wants to resolve to that. And that's all in G. Wants to resolve to there. But you don't always have to do that. You know, you don't always have to resolve to the C right there. You could play just resolve to it itself, to the G right there. But functionally, they're different right there. The G is the home chord right there. G major scale, G Ionian, has its thing. Just like I played the 1-4-5 in G. You could play the G major scale over the whole thing. Just like this progression right here, where it's like it's a G chord, a C, a D. So you know right off the bat when there's a chord progression, it's a G, a C, a D, and a G again. You know that you're in the key of G right there, because you have you know, when you have two major chords next to each other, that's usually it's a 4 and a 5. It goes back to the G. It's a chord right there. So you know you could play the G major scale. Now it's a little different than a blues context. You know, blues would be like a different sound, and you would recognize that sound right off the bat. You know, when you hear like a G to a C to a D to a G, it's not really a blues sound. You almost have to hear that it's more of a major scale sound. A blues would be more of like a it's got that dominant, the 3 dominant chords together, and you wouldn't really play it like in that rhythm. You would play it more like a, you know, like has more of a shuffle thing to it too. But you know, these are just they're not really rules or anything. It's just like you're just trying to hear it in your head, the feel, like something like this. You just know it's the major scale. Like if you heard it over this progression, it just works. The major scale works over this. Check it out. See, major scale just works over that. Look what, if I play the Mixolydian mode, let's see what it sounds like over that. Same progression. It's not going to sound right, at least in my opinion. It might sound kind of cool, but check it out. See? Doesn't work because it's not in the same key. These are 2 different keys, number 1. And the reason that doesn't work is when I play the F, I might go when I went to the C chord and I went to the D, it's changing it to a minor. That's what the problem is there. When I went to the C chord, I played the F over that. Really the only difference, like we said already, is that there's an F or an F sharp, and the major scale is an F sharp, and the Mixolydian is an F. So when we went during that progression, we played the second chord C. If I hit an F note, now what that's doing over C is it's playing a 4th instead of its normal sharp 4 in there. Okay, and also when we played the D chord, the 5 chord, it's giving you an F, which is making it minor, and I'm playing a D major, which is that F sharp. So that's the technical reason right there. Any questions about any of this stuff, let me know. And, okay, so that's really important to know. Now, I'm just going to bust out to what the real reason I'm making this video right now is because there's a lot of people that leave this out. And I know that it's maybe no one cares. about this stuff in these modes, right? How important are they, these modes? Well, I just think that they're really, really important. They're not like super, super important, the only thing that's important. There's lots of stuff more important, but it's something that you shouldn't overlook, is what I'm saying. People overlook these all the time and they move on to other things, but it's definitely something worth knowing. You know, it just makes a lot of sense because all music is based around these things, you know, so to overlook them is a mistake, I think, in my opinion. And the reason why I'm passionate about this too is I'm going to tell you that in 1 second here when I read this, after I read this. It's always great seeing a fellow 70th anniversary broadcaster player, another YouTuber, Jack Fawcett, just got one and he loves it too. Oh, that's really cool, 70th anniversary broadcaster. And I got a fret job on it too, just so you know, so it's even cooler. It's got jumbo frets instead of the, what they call them, vintage talls that come on them, which are really not even big, they're kind of small. So, all right, so here's why I'm passionate about showing you the importance between these two things. Now check this out. When you are, people do a lot of licks that are like this, right? Or in a blues context, they'll go like this and they'll say, well, you gotta play this major thing right here. And it's like, in a blues. Oops. Oops. See if I can get this. See, the idea is in my head, I just can't play it yet. So you get that. That's a very traditional blues thing. But that's Mixolydian right there, and you have to know that. I think you'd have to know that that's a Mixolydian lick right there. It's not a major scale lick at all. So people really overlook explaining that. Because really what this is, yeah, it's a major chord right here, but I'm playing over a 7th degree right there. It's a dominant chord right there. So if I was playing major, it would sound like this. That's a completely different sound right there. You know, that's something that would work more over this. The first progression we have because it's the third. See what I'm doing right there? Here's the 1 chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chord, and the 1 chord again. And all that lick is it's part of this 1 chord. It's the 3rd and the 5th. This next part is the 3rd and the 5th of the 4 chord. And this next thing, I'm sorry, it's the root and the 3rd of the 4 chord. And this one is the root and the 3rd of the 5 chord. See, over this progression, it would work. So I'm just shifting around the progression. Okay. So in a blues context, though, you wouldn't do. You would do like that, right? And that's the major thing that I think a lot of people leave out when they're talking about this stuff, and why you shouldn't overlook the differences. Because these little licks right here are completely different, right there. And what makes them different is this. Check this out. This right here, over the major chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chord, and the 1. But in the blues, it would be, this is not a 1 chord anymore. So learning the intervals are very important right here. check this out. Here's the G chord, the 1 chord, in a major key. Ionian mode. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. That's the major scale. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So here's the 3rd and the 5th. Something I'm going to call these 3 and 5. 3, 5. But if it's a 5 chord, it's no longer 3, 5. Yeah, it's a 3rd and the 5th, but harmonically, it's more of a, check it out, 7, right there, 7 and 9, right there, okay, 7, 9, so you can think of it as the 7th degree of the scale, and this would be going up 1, right there, and 2, 1, 7. And the reason I get to 7th degree, is just count it. Gee, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Same thing right there. 7. I'm sorry. 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you're just changing the numbers around here. Instead of this being 1, now it's 5. So you continue the counting up that scale. 5, 6, 7. So it's just the degrees, and there's only 7 degrees. So in a blues context, now that you know this is 7, 1, if that's 1, the key of C, it's the root, so it's 1 of C. Now if you harmonize the major scale, sorry. But over G, you get that 2. So that's how you get the sound. That's where it comes from. You're just essentially playing the C major scale. It's a good way to remember it in your head. C. It's the C major scale harmonized, but over G, right? Just like that. So that's why knowing in the blues that you're really playing the C major scale right there. If you wanted to harmonize it and understand what you're playing here. Mixolydian mode. You can only get that in the Mixolydian mode. Not the G Ionian mode or G major mode like that. So hopefully you understand that. Any questions about this stuff, let me know. And so yeah, the harmony of that, you know, it really depends on how you internalize it in your head. When you're playing a G7 chord, it's really the 5 chord of C. So essentially that's where I'm getting at right there. G7 is the 5 chord of C. So if I was playing any of those dyads or triads or anything over a G7, I would have to know, like in my mind, that that's a D minor right there. Whereas in G major, it would be a major chord. And that wouldn't sound very bluesy at all right there, right? If I went. It's very happy. But if you do this, all it is a D minor chord now. It's part of the D minor of this shape right here. So, pretty cool stuff. So any questions, let me know. Hello. I'm trying to remember your name. Is it, was it Eli? Could it be Eli? Because I don't read Chinese, but I think that's an E-L-Y. those three symbols. No, I think those symbols mean it's a like a some kind of insect, a feminine insect. Could I be right? Greasy Monkey, I remember that. I want to get some jumbo frets myself. Yeah, jumbo frets. Very cool. All right. See, sometimes my memory works. And so, yeah, the major scale Mixolydian mode. Very, very cool. Very important to know the differences. Only one trackpad. Where's the other one? You know, I was thinking about you when I only had the one. I didn't really need the other one over here. I'm not really controlling the other computer today, so just this one. It's kind of a force of habit that I keep both of them, because when I have to access the other computer, I like to have them together right there. So what are you drinking out there today? I got my coffee, my Italian espresso beans. So good. Good stuff. Thank you very much. And all right. So very important to know the difference between this Ionian mode and the Mixolydian mode. Now, what you really need to know is that the G major, all the chords that make up the G major scale here. You got G, so check this out. G major scale. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1. So all those numbers represent chords as well. The 1 chord, 2 chord, 3 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, 6 chord, 7 chord, or play it like this. And back to the top again. It's hard to play up here like this. Check it out. It's hard to play. Can't even play it. Let's just play it like this. You have the 1, the 2 chords minor, 3 chords minor, 4 chord is minor, 5 chord major. Let's see, 1 chord is major, 2 is minor, 3 is minor, 4 is major, 5 is major, 6 is minor, 7 is half diminished. Can I get that? And then back to the top again. Root. Half diminished chord right there is the 7th degree. When you're talking about the Mixolydian mode, that sequence of harmony changes, because now this is the G is a 5 chord of C, right? So it would be like starting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. It would be like starting on the D. This is the 5 chord right here, right? But this is the 5 chord now. So now you have to think, okay, well, here's 5, 6, 7, then back to C. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 again. So now you have a major chord. 6 would be a minor chord. 7 is half diminished. A lot easier to play it down there. Back to the 1, major chord. 2, minor chord. 3, minor. 4, major. So it's almost like you're playing them parallel with each other, really, right? So if you're thinking about harmony, you're thinking about, well, the chords of C, but based on this, G7 right there. So if I think, okay, well, if I'm playing the blues, I know that this A minor in there. I know that there's a B half diminished in there. I know that there's a C. See, because normally these chords aren't in here, like a C. If this was the G major scale, the A, okay, it would be minor right there. There's a 2. But then there would be a B minor in there. But it's not B minor in the blues. It would be B half diminished. B minor 7 flat 5. Like that. Now the C would be 1, 2, 3, 4. It would be a let's see. Just like that. It would still be a C right there, 4 chord. Now here's where it gets a little different right there. Is this B is the 5 chord, so would be a B minor right there over the G. Instead of B major, it's B minor. Right there. So it's 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. 3rd chord. So that's a difference right there. Then you have the E will be minor in G major, but it's also minor in G7. And here's where you get a different, right here too, difference. You have this minor 7 flat 5 here, which would be an F major instead. So you have these chords right here that are different. So in G major, you have the G, you'd have a D, and you'd also have a F sharp minor 7 flat 5 there. Like that. This is all major key stuff. And all this F sharp minor 7 flat 5 here, it's really like a harmony of a D7. Whereas in the blues, you'd have a G7, you have a D minor, you'd have an F. See, those chords make up a bluesier sound, right? A G, a D, and an F half diminished make up the sound of a major. It sounds like it wants to resolve to you. Whereas this one is more of a bluesy. And what's the point of me telling you all this? Is that there's a difference. Like, you should know this stuff. This very, very fine, minute difference, but it's one note difference, but it makes all the difference in the world. You know, yeah, good stuff. Let me give you a round of applause for listening. Because a lot of people don't really care about this, but I think it's overlooked, and I think it's very important, personally. Arvid W. Sounds great, dude. Thank you very much. Very, very cool. How were the concerts? Eli says. The concerts were great. Really good. Played a gig in Vegas at the Chrome Showroom at the Santa Fe Casino and Hotel out there, and it was really cool. And I usually film the stage. I do a little show and tell after we do a sound check, and I post it on Facebook and on LinkedIn. So if you're not with me there, check out Jerry Cherry on LinkedIn and on Facebook, and I post videos from every show that we do. I do a little film, a little preview of the stage and my pedal board and all that stuff, and the stage. So check that out if you haven't seen that. It's pretty cool. And we played at the showroom at, this is a tribute band, an ABBA, a tribute to ABBA, direct from Sweden, the music of ABBA. And it's really, really great band. We play some really great places around the country. We played Saturday nights in the Chrome Showroom, Vegas, and then the very next morning we flew to LA LAX, and we played at Cerritos Center. Cerritos or Cerritos. That's it. I think I finally got it right. Cerritos. Or you can call it Cheerios, whatever you like. But that was a cool place as well. And great. Cool place is an understatement. That's a beautiful theater. Spelled theater. It's pronounced like that. Theater. I mean, it had like a bunch of levels, 4 different levels of booths and stuff all around the place. Really beautiful place in Cerritos, Southern California. My Instagram is @TheJerryCherry. The ABBA's is like SOS ABBA, something like that. But yeah, check it out. It's good stuff. And I got home last night. Coming home is quite an adventure. You know, flying with your guitar is never fun. Never fun at all. And a lot of times when we were flying with Southwest, you can get it on because we're like A-listers and we board early. But with JetBlue yesterday, I was actually the last person to board the plane. The last. 180 people boarded before me. And I had the most expensive piece of equipment with me, my guitar, my Strat. And I had to, first time in a long time, I had to gate check it. And I was very, very disappointed and very upset, to say the least. And I'm sitting in my chair for a 5-hour seat. It's a 5-hour flight, and I'm like this. And I'm just really, really upset. But luckily, nothing happened. It survived. My Strat, still great. So very happy about that. ABBA, nice one, dude. I'm Sweet. Are you really? That's so cool. All right. So you would love this band. They're from Sweden. The singers, the 2 girls, and the manager are from Sweden, from not Stockholm, but we're from Gothenburg. And Dana, I've seen a few clips. Sounds great. Thank you very much for that. I would never take my flight with expensive guitars. Yeah, well, I take my Strat 'cause that's the one I use in the performance. And with Southwest, like I was saying, we board early, so I've never had a problem with that. But it's sometimes with these other airlines, and you'd think I would learn. There are tricks around it, flying with your guitar to get it on, and sometimes you have to. Sometimes it's just impossible, because it really comes down to the gates agents and what mood they're in that day. That's the policy. It's whatever mood the gate check agents are in is the policy. So that's what it is. So really, really cool stuff here to know the difference between these 2 modes right here. So when you do stuff like that, you're playing the Mixolydian mode. There's no way around it right there. You know, all these like little double stops right here. 1, 2. You do something like that. Say if you're playing a major, right? And you're like, okay, well these are just major scale stuff. Okay, you would play. If someone's like, yeah, G, just play a G major, Triads and harmony over it. Well, it's not the same harmony than G major. If you were going G major, you would go. The first 3 would be right. Look, I'm just harmonizing up the G major scale. Here's G major. Here's it in harmony. So if you're playing something, you're just doing the first 3. Okay, that's okay. Even in a blues context, that's okay. Because of what we said before. Even if this was 1, 2, 3, it would be major, minor, minor. It's all the same. If it was 5, the 5th chord, 3, it would still be 5, 6, 7. Those are still major, minor, minor triads. Here's where it gets a little tricky. If it was G major, that's okay right there too. The C, if it was 5, 6, 7, back to C major, but here's where it gets different, that D minor. If it was the key of G, it'll be a D right there. you have that sound. Now, it doesn't sound really bluesy, does it? This would be bluesy. Same thing right there, you know? So I think knowing that is important. You can't really overlook that and leave that out right there. And it's just one note. And it's the difference between the major scale and the Mixolydian mode. Mixolydian mode. It's a big difference. It is the mix. It's not a dominant scale. It is a dominant scale, but it's not the dominant scale, because there's lots of dominant scales. There's Phrygian dominance. You know? It's like... That's a dominant scale. Oops. It's not the same as this. Right? Okay, so if you call this a dominant scale, it's one of many dominant scales. But this is only one Mixolydian mode. That's the Mixolydian mode. And it's the only one ever. It's a Mixolydian mode. Not to be confused with a kind of dominant scale. One of many dominant scales. So, you know, it's really how pinpoint, how accurate do you want to be by calling with your labels of things. That's what it is. Hey, Pete Thorne was talking about that, and I think that he's renting guitars when touring. Yeah, very, very smart. But you know what's funny is with this band, I get 2 guitars, an electric guitar and an acoustic guitar. You know, so for backup, the electric is a backup, and the acoustic I use for 3 songs. But with the electrics, it's like you just never know what you're going to get. You're getting them from top backline companies like SIR or other major companies around the country. But sometimes you get great ones and they feel great. And then sometimes you get them, it's like strings are dead on it, or they're buzzing, they're not set up right, or they sound terrible. You know, so I hate I'd make it work. And there was a time where I would play dental floss and a toothpick if I didn't have to bring my guitar, you know? So it's like, but now it's like I like to have my guitar, not this one, but I travel with my Strat. And it's just comfortable knowing you have your guitar, plays good. I have hum canceling pickups in my Strat. These Strats are just strictly single coil, so they're noisier, you know, but sometimes they play great. A lot of times they play great, but you know, I've been bringing my guitar even though I have a backup, and but trust me, I'm thinking about just going with the backups. But the problem is when you use the backup, you have no backup now. So, you know, they put you in a bad situation, because I've gone out first note of the show and I pop a string, you know, first note, and then what? You know, then you're out of luck right there at that point. So it's tough. Roger Charlie. Hi, Jerry. Back after a long time. Good to see you. So good to see you, Roger Charlie. The man with 2 names. 2 first names. Yeah. And I was just at the Abbey Museum, minutes away from my house in Stockholm. I hope to get to visit there one day. Yeah, I haven't been there. Some of the girls and guys in the band have been there at the museum there in Stockholm. Really, not to be confused with the avatars in London, but the museum was another thing in Stockholm. It's really cool. You know, I am an ABBA. Hello, my name is Jerry, and I'm an ABBA-holic. So pretty cool. Having some fun with you guys here on a Tuesday. Any questions about this stuff, let me know. So I'm going to do this with some other modes too going forward. Some versus modes, like thinking in my head like Aeolian versus like Dorian. I've done stuff like that, but it's cool to know these modes and how they're different. I always think that the most important one is, you know, comparing these two, because when you're talking about the context of these scales, you know, especially in the blues, you know, you're playing a Mixolydian mode. And you go into that 4 chord, you're playing a C Mixolydian now. Back to the G Mixolydian mode. And over the D Mixolydian mode. The G. Back to the G right there. And then if you want it to be bluesy, Mixolydian, not major. Totally different thing. Right there. Can you do that Egyptian sound again? Yes. That's a Phrygian dominant scale. Oops. Yeah, it's just a like if you're playing 3 notes per string, if you're playing the Mixolydian mode, G, it's the same thing, only you're playing the second. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root. Take the second degree and just flatten it. So now you got, take the 6th degree and flatten it. And that's the only thing that's different. You could do that. Mixolydian mode versus Phrygian dominant. Here's Mixolydian mode. Phrygian dominant. So the only difference is I took the 2nd degree, brought it down a half step. I took the 6th degree, brought it down a half step. So you have a minor 6 right there. Oops. Same thing with the 7th is good. So only 2 notes are different. So it's like a minor scale. It's like a Phrygian scale. Phrygian mode would be this. But dominant makes it major. So it's the same scale, major. And up to here, the next octave. Here's the root, half step, major 3rd, there's G major. The 7th, minor 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, flat 2nd, same thing. It's a dominant scale, so it wants to lead to, you know, to there. A lot of times it goes to a minor chord. Like that. Really, really cool. Is that like a practice thing, or should I be doing? Yeah, it's a good practice for sure. And it's put it into your playing. It's a great mode. It's a great lick to know. You know, it's really cool to know the Phrygian dominant. One of the dominant modes. There's others. There's Lydian dominant. It's another one. Sounds like a whole tone scale almost. So that's 3 dominant scales right there. 1 Mixolydian mode. I mean, there's other modes that have name. You know, there's Mixolydian flat 6. There's Mixolydian, you know, modes of the different scales. Mixolydian flat 2. I think, stuff like that. But we're going off the rails a little bit. Roger Charlie. That's some great explaining going on there, along with the live demo. Great teacher. Thank you very much. I enjoy doing this, you know. Keeps me playing, keeps the guitar in my hand, you know. Thank you. Thanks for hanging out with me here. Very cool. Sometimes the algorithm gets it right. Stumbling upon your stream made my day. Impressive work. Thank you very much, Arvid W. That's so cool. Give you a round of applause for that. Thanks. So it's just, I'll show you this backing track that I made. 3 chords for a major. G major chord, C is the 4 chord, D is the 5 chord, G. You can play the G major scale through the whole thing, just like this. Try it again. G major scale. Or G minor pentatonic. Or even this, switch pentatonics between the 3 chords. Now here's Mixolydian. It's just 1 note different. It's the 7th degree. So just one note changes everything right there. And there's probably more ways to explain this if I showed diagrams and charts of it, the way that they would line up parallel on top of each other, which I'll probably go ahead and make, because I usually will edit these videos and I'll put some charts in there to kind of show what I'm talking about, what I've talked about already in this video. So Mark Knopfler would approve. Very, very cool. Thank you very much. So I do have a guitar course. I have a guitar course called the Essential Skills Collection for Guitar. And I talk about 4 important topics. Fretboard memorization, the easiest way to show how to find all the notes all over the guitar neck. The circle of fifths, where it's a visual way to really just kind of see how chords work together. Really cool to look at. Blues soloing, which we're doing a little bit now, where I have backing tracks and lots of PDFs and graphs and stuff like that. And then I go through the cage system, which is really cool, showing the different shapes all over the neck. But I do it in 2-5-1s. So I can show you the 2 chord, the 5 chord, and the 1 in 5 positions, which is very, very helpful to you. So if you're interested in that, there's a link in the description. Please check that out. I put a lot of time and work into that. I would appreciate that. So thank you very much, guys. I hope to see you next Sunday, because usually I go live every Sunday, but I was out on the road, so I couldn't do it. So next Sunday, actually, I'll be home. It's the first weekend in a while where I'm not out of town in the week. So I'll be home Sunday, so come back on Sunday at 12 o'clock and hang out with me there. And if you have any ideas for what you're into, what you want to learn, or what you want to have any questions about, email me at info@jerrycherry, or right now, let me know while we're still here, hanging out. So, really, really good stuff here to know. This difference here. Mixolydian. Having some fun with you guys here. Thank you so much for hanging out. I love yous. So remember, be cool, everybody. Be cool for sure. Be kind. Have a great day, dude. Awesome. Thank you. And be cherry. And if you want to see another video, talking about, what is it that I was talking about? If you want to see another video on how to use triads to hear the sound of modes, check out the video right there. And Jeffrey Boyle will tell you that's a good one. Love yous. See you in the next one. Have a great week. Peace, y'all.